Hey there, my name is Josh. I'm one of the pastors here at Shore Life, and today, as we get into Psalm 3, I hope this psalm brings you some encouragement. So Psalm 3 actually starts with a title for us to just to paint a picture of what's going on. Brings us all the way back to 2 Samuel, where King David is fleeing from his rebellious son Absalom. And so join me in Psalm 3, starting in verse 1. O Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? Many are saying of me, God will not deliver him. But you are my shield around me, O Lord. You bestow glory on me and lift up my head. To the Lord I cry aloud, and he answers me from his holy hill. I lie down and sleep. I wake again, because the Lord sustains me. I will not fear the tens of thousands drawn up against me on every side. Arise, O Lord. Deliver me, O my God. Strike all my enemies on the jaw, break the teeth of the wicked. From the Lord comes deliverance. May your blessing be on your people. And we see right in verse 1 and 2 this theme where the psalmist is describing what it's like to be surrounded by foes, be surrounded by enemies. And as we get back into the Hebrew text, as we dissect certain Hebrew words, we really get a sense of how close the enemy is to the psalmist as he describes his past experiences. They're not lobbing bombs from afar. This is close proximity. This is hand-to-hand combat. And each time he eradicates one of his foes, every time David eliminates a potential foe, another one rises, and there's this potential or this repetitious of multiplication going on, where you defeat one enemy and another one takes its place, and it can be exhausting. For those of you who have experienced something like that, where you do everything right, you're pursuing the Lord to the best of your ability, and every time you accomplish something, you take one step forward, it seems like two steps are taken back. And we begin to read this psalm, and we see the weight being expressed by David, and we see it expressed in the phrase, "God will not deliver him." Really showing the intent of the attack. It was to leave vulnerable. It was to expose, really to snuff out life. It was to eradicate. And so there's the great close proximity going on, but then it's the very real expression of dire straits being expressed by David at this time. And despite the reality of this, despite the realness of the pain and the suffering and the worry going on, David uses three God-sized truths in verse 3. He uses the word shield. And it's not the description of shield that you hold right in front of you, where it just blocks a small section of the body. This is the shield that surrounds. This is a barrier, a hedge that David is describing here, of where it's completely surrounding the whole body. He uses the word glory. An expression of God placing honor, of God placing dignity upon the individual. And the last phrase is to lift my head. What a beautiful sign of God lifting our head, of God expressing his acceptance, of God expressing approval by lifting our head, by lifting our eyes to gaze at each other. What a precious moment, and what a great reminder of God's power, of God's truth. And then the final segment of the psalm really exudes an almost kind of eerie confidence of security even. And we see this in verse 5. It says, "Lie down and sleep." Regardless of the oppression, the close proximity of danger, the enemies multiplying and coming at him continuously, he is able, with great confidence, to find true rest, to lay down. I don't know about you, but when I have things going on in my life, and I begin to start thinking about them over and over again, and it's hard to rest in those seasons. And David is expressing a great confidence in God's protection, but also a great confidence in His provisions, that he's able just to close his eyes and to gain a perfect rest, despite what's going on in his world. And then we see again in verse 6 the expression, "I will not fear." Here David just once again reiterates the confidence. I will not be afraid. I trust that God is my shield. He is my protector. He is my God. And he accepts whatever's going to come his way, but he has confidence that God will be there with him. So while verse 8 tells us that the Lord is the source of our deliverance, it doesn't give us a guarantee that we will be delivered in our lifetime. And so that's a little bit humbling, but it's reassuring to me and hopefully you to know that despite the outcomes, God is there. God is part of the process, and God is walking with you as your protector during that season. And so as I walk away from this psalm, and I invite you to walk away too with encouragement, with a greater confidence in God. I think we read the psalm and I just walk away going, man, I can trust God. Regardless of what is going on in my life, I can trust God. And sometimes we just need that reminder. We may know it in our head, but to hold on to it in our heart and to live out of that abundance of knowing that we can trust God. And the second thing, it gives me a greater fervor to have a more vibrant relationship with the God, to bring regularly with confidence my requests to the Lord, to call out to him as he lifts up my head, as we gaze into each other's eyes, as I dive into the scriptures, to not just trust God, but to have a confidence that he is listening, that he is there, and that he will be with me in my current situations. So friends, I don't know what's going on in your life. If you'd like to express that to me, I would be a welcomed ear, just to share and to pray with you in that endeavor. But trust this, know this to be true, that you can bring your requests to God, that you can trust him with whatever's going on, and whatever big, small, medium-sized issues going on in your life, I invite you just to bring them to the Lord and to trust him. Well, friends, until we see each other again, God's blessing upon you. May, as you read his scriptures, may they come alive in your time of study. And Lord, I pray that even in times of prayer, that you would hear his still, subtle voice as he guides you each and every day. See you soon.